जो सभ्यता राख में भी अग्नि जगाती, वही हर युग में नई धरती बसाती। Fast forward to today, and there can be no doubt that over the past decade, Bharat has not only been the world's fastest growing major economy, but it has also grown to become the fourth largest economy on the planet. However, across history, no nation has sustained economic power without civilizational confidence. When a civilization knows the gatekeepers of tomorrow will not be kings or conquerors, they will be algorithms that are silent and unseen. And these digital empires will either become the custodians of our civilizational principles or rewrite them. This is why we meet to debate Indology and to ensure that our heritage is preserved in the world that lies ahead. हम यहाँ अंतम मिलते हैं ताकि ज्ञान के दीप जलाए तथा युग युगांतरों तक भारत धर्म की धारा फैलाए। Now allow me to tell you how all of this started. And as always, behind every action sits a simple story, and here is mine. The initial years of my childhood were spent in Banaskantha in a North Gujarat. मेरा बचपन बनासकांठा के रेगिस्तान में बीता और लाखों हिंदुस्तानी बच्चों के ही तरह मेरी मां की गोद में ही मेरी पहली पाठशाला थी। Like millions of Indian children, my first classroom too was the lap of my mother. Every evening, as the golden sun set over our home, my mother would gather me and my siblings, and she would narrate episodes from our eternal epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. She, Santaben, would tell us the stories about Prabhu Ram's 14-year exile, Sita Mata's devotion, the engineering wonder of the bridge to Lanka, the war with Ravan, the reunion of Prabhu Ram and Sita Mata, and then Sita Mata's separation again. From the Mahabharata, she spoke about Arjun's battlefield doubts and Krishna Bhagwan's words to Arjun to rise beyond family bonds and serve the purpose of Dharma. My mother was not just telling me stories. She was doing what every Indian mother does. She was shaping my sense of duty, devotion, and Dharma. she would tell me, "Beta, રામની શક્તિ તેમના ધનુષમાં ન હતી, તેમના ધર્મમાં હતી. અને ધર્મની રક્ષા એ જ કરી શકે જે પોતાના સ્વાર્થને ભૂલીને પ્રજાના કલ્યાણ માટે પોતે દીપ બની જાય." Prabhu Ram's strength was never in his bow. It was in his dharma. It is only the one who forgets his own ego that can become a lamp for the welfare of his people. Every virtue in my mother's story had a name and a face. A wife like Sita, who lit the flame through the exile's night, turning her sorrow to strength and darkness to light. Brothers like Bharat and Lakshman, loyal and true, tied by dharma in everything that they do. My mother was not just narrating the principles from our epics. She was teaching me how to live them. Mata, Prathama Guru. The mother is indeed the first teacher. And perhaps, after all these years, it was her soft voice that resurfaced when the Ram temple was inaugurated in Ayodhya last year. In that moment, my heart turned not only to celebrations, but also to reflections on the 14 years Prabhu Ram spent in exile. जैसा कि आप सब जानते हैं, 14 साल कोई साधारण संख्या नहीं थी. वह धर्मधारा नियत काल था, जिसने ये सुनिश्चित किया कि राम अयोध्या से निकले युवराज बनकर पर लौटे देवता बनकर. He left as the crown prince of a kingdom and returned not as a king he was expected to become, but as the god destiny had shaped him to be. And as Sudipta outlined, that is when the Indology idea took shape in my mind. My dear friends, as expected, since our announcement, I have often been asked, why does Indology matter? What is the objective of a 3-day global conference on Indology? Let me first address the questions. Why does Indology matter? And to do so, let me first define what Indology means to me. It is the disciplined study of our philosophies, art, medicine, mathematics, architectures, language, and governance. From zero to Vedic algorithms, Ayurveda's healing, to Vastu harmony, Arthasastra's statecraft, to our civilization values. Indology is about how to turn ideas into institutions. And so, when we study Indology, we do not look back to live in history. We look forward so that the best of history lives through us. हम अतीत को इसलिए छूते कि राष्ट्र ज्योति उदित हो जाए, यथा अनंत काल तक भारत धर्म की किरण जगत में फैलाए. That, my friends, is the answer to the first questions, why Indology matters. My dear friends, when the roots of culture fade, the land turns dry and bare. But as long as values shine, darkness can never dare. When we speak of a civilizational setback, we often remember Nalanda. But Nalanda was not an exception. It was a pattern. Bharat's greatest injuries came from the systematic destructions of our knowledge infrastructures. Let me explain. Bhaktiar Khilji burned Nalanda, Vikramshila, and Odantapuri. In doing so, he did not just destroy libraries, he burnt the nerve center of Asian learning. Their fall erased hundreds of years of knowledge in a single generation. Then came another form of destruction, that of self-confidence. In 1835, Britisher Thomas Macaulay declared India's vast knowledge systems of no practical use. He forced a replacement of thousands of years of our traditional educational model with a clerk producing model. This was not a policy. It was a psychological war. It broke our civilizational self-confidence. And then again came the extractions. Tens of thousands of our manuscripts on astronomy, chemistry, metallurgy, Ayurveda, all shipped to Europe, translated, patented, repackaged, and credited as a Western discoveries. Our knowledge was shamelessly stolen and ruthlessly mined. Our attackers understood one thing with chilling precision, that civilizations do not fall by swords alone. They fall when their memory is left unguarded. And so they struck not just our people, but our libraries, our universities, and our stories, knowing that if memory breaks, then civilization bends. सभ्यताएं शस्त्रों से नहीं, शिथिल हुई स्मृतियों से ही टूटती है। जहां स्मृति शून्य हो जाती, वही संस्कृति शरण में झुक जाती है। टुगेदर they shattered our cultural confidence and fragmented the discipline of Indology itself. And so, this, my friends, is my answer to the second question, why we need a 3-day conclave on Indology. My dear friends, if those were the assaults of the past, today we face a challenge shaped differently, but just as dangerous. The new forms of invasions do not come with armies or flags. They do not even see themselves as invaders. They claim no territory, but they will seek something far more powerful: our attentions, our habits, and our imaginations. They enter offering tools that feel convenient but slowly shape how an entire society reads, thinks, and remembers. This has been the new phase of a soft warfare, control over cultural memory and a public thought. And today, this quite civilizational force has arrived in its most powerful form: artificial intelligence. The next frontier that will decide who leads and who follows. Therefore, with it comes the questions: are we ready for what comes next?